Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander viewers are advised that the following video may contain images and voices of people who have passed away.
What makes me strong is when me and my dad go down to Northern Territory and because Dad and my cousins, they teach me Quabbery and that. So it's really cool when we do that because we have all the traditional owners, and I know that my ancestors will be watching over me.
The stuff that makes me stay strong is my family, my culture. Like my mum, she always told me, don't worry about what people say, just keep that positive reinforcement.
Just keep us strong that we respect our culture, then we respect other people's culture too. So they don't get down, or when other people went down, we always respect their culture. We don't swear their culture that.
So it's very important when we have our culture, we are strong. We are strong with who we are. We can identify and we can stand up, and you don't have to be frightened, and because you have that power within you.
Identity and strength and spiritual connection for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander children is very important, and they need that connection with land and that because that's how they've been raised. So if they don't have those senses of connection, belonging, family and things being forefront in their lives, then that really puts things out of context, out of perspective for them, and that really plays with their confidence, their safety, their self-assurance. So we really need to make sure we have those balances for all our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander children, even if they're not living on land that they feel connected to as such, having that connection of this is my country, this is my homeland, and being able to talk about it and having other people understand what they're talking about when they're talking about country, I think is very important for them in their identity.
Mabajunu. Ngawe Levante.
Schools can be a really big protective factor for children and families by being attentive to the needs of the families and addressing those needs, whether it be by support staff and instructing them to reach out to families and support them, or providing programs that target the special needs of their students. All children fall prey to certain risk factors. There might be some pressures at home that affect them in the family. There might be parental strain, there might be employment issues, substance issues, or perhaps violence issues. At school there might be bullying, there might be struggles with schoolwork which make them inattentive and are prone to getting in trouble a lot. And particularly for Aboriginal children, there are other strains involved in extended family. If there's problems in extended family, there's a loss of stability in the home that can create a vulnerable environment for children.
Some of the ways we support students to be culture strong is to share their culture and to be confident and able to. So we have dance lessons, we share cultural songs, cultural expectations, and how different cultures operate.
It's very important that we have a strong Aboriginal content in everything we do. So the kids are always being reflected. So whether it comes from films, all the curriculum content has to be put in a context that it's about them.
And Peter says, I saw a brown horse looking at me.
Malu will say, I can see a horse looking at me.
But how is she talking? Is she using standard Australian English or Aboriginal English?
I think it's an essential, like, you know, how much language is just an integral part of, you know, our society. Getting a job, you know, just surviving in mainstream. So I think kids need to, be able to learn when to code switch, how to code switch, and the teachers in this school are great. They acknowledge it. That's the first step. You acknowledge that it's a spoken dialect and a language, a recognised language, that you appreciate it and respect it. You know, kids in Roban were writing a whole page of Aboriginal English and then rewriting it in standard Australian English, and it's pretty powerful to see them do that. So we have, as part of our grammar chart, we have Aboriginal English. So if you see a word, say Wibingo, and you have, instead of crossing it out, you know, the physical act of crossing that out and putting the word above it when it is actually correct in Aboriginal English is quite powerful.
People often talk about, you know, how do we make children strong, and there are lots of ways we can do that. And in Kids Matter, we focus on the importance of feeling that you belong, that you're connected. You know, we're really mindful of the fact that the child's family and their parents are the most important person in the child's world. So how do we embrace that and make sure that child feels that their family is welcome in our school, that all families are welcome? But apart from all of that, which is the whole of Kids Matter focus, one thing in particular that schools can do is to look at the notion of teaching, explicitly teaching social and emotional skills. And we know that that's a protective factor, that children who have that reduce the likelihood of developing mental health difficulties later.
Let's see if Poss knows the first thing we do if we're getting bullied. Show him. Let's help him. What do we do? Good work.
The challenge becomes how do we embed it in the everyday culture of the place? How is it just a natural part of what we do? And how do we apply it, not just in the yard or in the library, but as a teacher, how do I negotiate curriculum outcomes with children? What is negotiable and what isn't? How do I help them get in touch with understanding their emotions and their feelings? But importantly, managing of those feelings and emotions, because all of us experience the range of emotions. It's what we choose to do with it that's the important part.
So if the old woman has just punched Clicky in the belly, oh, what do you think that Clicky could say?
Stop it, I don't like it.
All right, let's see. Stop that, old woman. I don't like it. I think we teach a lot of social emotional learning through role play, because role play obviously is what we do in real life. So I think it's important that, you know, the kids learn, you know, if someone says this to you, this is what you can say back. We also do a lot of, emotions, so what it's like to feel happy, angry, sad, because I think that's sometimes the problem, you know, with a lot of mental health issues is that the children aren't really sure what they are feeling and what they're meant to, if it's okay to feel like that, and what do they do if they feel like that. So a lot of role play, so they get a real hoot out of, you know, getting up and acting it out in front of the class.
Excellent.
You can teach social emotional learning skills at all ages through a variety of different techniques such as role play, social turn taking games, things like creating and maintaining friendships, learning how to control your feelings, learning to negotiate conflict, and the most important one is learning to ask for help.
Being sweared at bad. By the way, that's not standard Australian English, is it? So it's being sworn at. It's almost in a threatening way, isn't it, when someone swears you bad? There's heaps of these programs, but I reckon you pick one that fits your community, that the community like and that your staff like and will own and want to do, and then you stick with it.
I think sometimes we need to remember that we're key adults in kids' development and that we are sometimes the most stable thing in the children's lives. Everything else can go crazy at home, and we know about those home environments, but making sure that we're stable, consistent and building good relationships with our kids.